Mehendi, are you admitting the students now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so I think, Tisha, we can begin.
Is everybody in? Okay. A very good morning to everyone present here. The Jai Hind College Global Entrepreneurship Summit 2022, presented by HDFC Bank, powered by Bright Outdoor Media, co-sponsored by Baggett, in association with Plum Body Loving, trading partner Havenspire, home decor partner Whipple Homes, news and media partner The Education Tree, in association with Digital India, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, National E-Governance Division, Make in India, Skill India, Maharashtra State Innovation Society, Startup India, Amazon Web Services Activate, Enactus, Mumbai Angels Network, Inflection Point Ventures, TIE Mumbai, and Wadhwani Foundation. We have with us our speaker, Mr. Patrick Widman, all the way from Germany, to speak on the topic Local to Global. I would now like to invite Professor Sai Prasad Shetty, the Joint Coordinator of the Department of the Bachelors of Mass Media, to kindly introduce our speaker for today. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? I believe I am.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Hope the first session on content creation was worthwhile for everyone concerned, students and other participants. Growing from a local startup to an international scale-up is an exciting move for any founder. A global business where you can work anywhere in the world, work and be known to people around the world. But how to achieve that? How to start? These questions persist in the mind of every entrepreneur. Presenting to you our honorary speaker for the workshop, Local to Global, Mr. Patrick Widman, who will enlighten budding entrepreneurs and startups on internationalization of business. After managing operationally up to 8 international markets with a revenue of 180 million USD dollars, he is always eager to help and support individuals on their entrepreneurial journey. He's a serial entrepreneur himself with businesses in India and Germany. He fostered social innovation on an Indian startup accelerator as a business coach and mentor, and built bridges between all critical stakeholders in the ecosystem. He has been ranked under top 10 mentors in India and Asia Pacific or Indo-Pacific region, where he mentored over 60 students on a one-on-one sessions to graduate in their digital marketing studies. The author of a best-selling personal development memoir, he describes himself as just a normal individual who is motivated by helping other individuals and companies to be their best, inside and outside of the business. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Patrick Widman.
Thank you so much, Sai, sir. Yes, sir. Over to you for the session.
Okay. Thank you so much for the lovely introduction, Sai Prasad and Tisha. It's a pleasure to be here. Indeed, I learned a lot about myself with the introduction again. It was really a quick look into my past, what I've already done. And I'm very happy to be here today to be part of this 2-day entrepreneurship summit, which is an amazing way of getting a lot of knowledge from different angles. I've seen the mentoring list, the workshop list, the mastermind class list. And it's really amazing what kind of program you established in this short period of time as well. Yeah, so I would like to share my presentation with you and go through the topic from local to global. And I hope this works well now. I hope you can see it.
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So now it should be, yeah, on the big screen. Okay, cool. So yeah, we've already heard a few words about local to global, and it's completely right what we heard. It's an extremely exciting journey to get maybe with your venture, with your startup, not only across India and to gain some traction there, but also to expand to other businesses. But before we get into this topic, how you should do it, when you should do it, I want to tell you a little bit about my background. You've heard a few words, but I want to give you some kind of mindset behind why I did different things and why I changed maybe also from being in Germany to being in India suddenly. And yeah, so yeah, when I was young, I had the pleasure, or I was lucky that my parents had a caravan and we traveled to over 40 plus countries. I was always excited about international businesses, cultures, economies as well. I think today it's 45 plus countries. And yeah, I might have looked like that, always sitting in a caravan and just being excited to see something else, some other country. And at this time, I was leading, one second, there's some technical issue. Okay. I was leading the international operations for 8 up to 9 markets in the peak time in a company in Germany. And if you can't see me, I'm this guy here. I'm just positioning myself behind a big boss. It was Wolfgang Jess, the former CEO of the company. But what I've realized for myself was up to this stage, I've worked quite hard and I always wanted to climb up the ladder. My purpose was really to earn money, and to do it in the corporate world. So this is how I imagine myself in the future. But what I also realized was if I work stronger and harder without any real purpose behind, just work maybe in a corporate where I'm not completely satisfied and not doing my own thing or making my own decisions, I might end up like this guy here. And this is what I call the backward evolution. Don't look it up. This is what I call it. Because when you look millions of years ago, we were apes running around on four legs. Then suddenly we stood up, we became hunter-gatherers. And today we are just getting back to this ape position. And if you don't believe me, this is just a picture what I shot in Hyderabad once. People in a queue just tilting down the head,
So,
the smartphone.
Sorry to cut you. I think we cannot see your screen if you are
Oh, okay. This is not good. 1 second. Then there was. Thank you for the information. Okay. Then I think there is some technical thing. Okay, 1 second. Okay, this is interesting because I also can't see the complete Zoom screen right now.
So if you want, we could share the screen for you if you could send across the PPT.
No, it's okay. I guess I'm back now. 1 second. Let's give it another try. The question is just where you ended, what you couldn't see anymore. Okay, 1 second. I just try once more. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Now it should work. Okay. Could you see this screen?
Yes, so we can see it now.
Okay. I roughly go through what I said. Yeah. So I think this is what you couldn't see, right? Okay, I skip that. It's okay. We jump into here, into this one. So when I was working on the corporate side, I was always trying to earn more money, to get richer, and to climb up the ladder. My ideal picture of myself in the future looked like this. Yeah, I just wanted to become rich, to be honest. But what I also realized, if I go on this way without a purpose, without making my own decisions, I might end up like this, just being, without any motivation in the future. And this is what I call, I think you already heard it, but you couldn't see the slides. That's why I explain it once more. The backward evolution, millions of years ago, we were running on 4 legs. Then we stood up, became hunter-gatherers, quite with broad chests. And today we are just getting back to this position. And if you don't believe this, this is just one picture of people in Hyderabad standing in a queue. So we are all tilted down with our head looking at a smartphone, but sometimes just don't realize what else is happening around us in the world, or what kind of possibilities are there in the world. So that's why I made a bigger decision in my life at this point. I changed this, the corporate world with all the suits and style, to this picture. So I moved to India. I joined what I call the tribe. It was really a tribe, an amazing atmosphere in the group of social entrepreneurs, and I helped Social Startup Accelerator to onboard social entrepreneurs from all across India and to train them throughout a 6-month bootcamp program. After that, I also started my own business in India, helped other entrepreneurs in India as well. So I'm familiar with the European market and also the Indian market. Now I'm also getting involved in 2 other markets as well. And if you can't find me here, I'm the guy who shot the picture. I was the one behind the camera. So having said that, this was my world before, and this was always the world what I expected that has to be like this in my future. But after I did the shift, suddenly this world became much smaller, and I realized that I have just lived in my comfort zone, nothing else, for years and years and years. Everybody was telling me, you have to do this, you have to go this, you have to do this career. But suddenly I just opened a huge new space for personal growth. Fast forward, 1,000+ experiences later, today I'm building up an AI ecosystem currently with the state of Baden-Württemberg in Germany, where we help social, or not social, AI ideas to transfer them into scalable businesses, and now focusing also on growing AI startups to get them to funding and scale. And I also have another company in Germany, and I'm involved in different networks, ecosystems in India as well as in Europe, and one in Russia as well. Although there it's maybe you've heard the news. There were some major things happening yesterday. So now enough about me, because I'm not the main one here. It's all about you. My goal is that you can get value out of the session, and that's why I built the workshop based on these topics. So the first one is I want to explain you the main stages of a successful startup. Maybe you've heard it, maybe not, but why I'm doing it, because it's just the base of going global. The second one is I want to talk about international expansion. So how can you expand to another market? When and why should you go abroad with your business? Where should you go? How should you decide? If you go to Germany, you're always welcome here, of course, or if you want to go to US or another country somewhere. And then finally, how to do it. And at the end, I think this is quite important for me also. I want to leave some time for discussion. If there are questions in between, please put it in the chat. We will also have some interactive sessions that you don't sleep like this in a cinema, but it can be a little bit longer. So take some popcorn, take some drinks, enjoy, relax, but it will be also kind of interactive workshop. Then I think we can start. And now you will become active first, because I have one question to you. I would like to know from you where you are at your entrepreneurial stage. Together with Tisha, we already sent a survey to you before we started the session to get a little bit of understanding. but it would be awesome if you could go to menti.com and use this code 19415856, or just scan the QR code and then answer the question where you see yourself in your startup stage, in your entrepreneurial stage, because this will help me quite a lot to direct the upcoming slides in the right way. So yeah, please scan the QR code, go to menti.com, and then I just change the screen. So, okay. Perfect. So answers are flying in. That's great. I hope you can still see it. Okay. 13 already. I have no idea yet. And there is nothing right or wrong. Yeah. Be honest about where you are, where you feel yourself like, okay. Perfect. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. 18, 20. Okay. Great, great, great. Okay. I've also seen someone raising his hand. So I think if there is any question, just unmute yourself and ask. Happy to answer. Yes. There is one
Would
question.
you have a question? Dhruv, we have asked you to unmute if you have a question.
Okay, maybe it's working now.
I think it's
if
by
any
mistake.
So I think we could continue.
Okay. Okay. No problem. So if there are any questions, yeah, please feel free to ask. It's really about you, that you get value out of it. Yeah. It's not about me just talking. Yeah. Cool. Okay. We are still waiting another 10, 20 seconds, I would say, because there are many more in the workshop. But we have less answers. Okay, it's getting crowded now. I have just an idea yet. Yeah. So the bubbles are fighting against each other. Good. Okay. 60, 31. All right. All right. All right. Okay. So, okay, let's see. Maybe one or two answers are coming in as well. But I think it gives already a quite interesting picture. And this also, I think, goes in the same direction what we've heard before, before I prepared this session. Most of you are quite early at the entrepreneurial stage. Yeah. And before I started with the workshop, I thought about, should I really go into global markets in detail? Like, how are they different and so on? Or should I maybe combine it with the overall entrepreneurial journey? Because I believe if you are quite early at your entrepreneurial journey, you should first understand how a startup can be established and can be prepared for later scale, and then maybe go global. So that's why I shift again to the presentation. And this gives a good picture here. So it should be visible again. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, cool, perfect. So because, and this is a little bit demotivating, I know, but this was also kind of statistics. If you're quite early at your startup stage, or just having an idea or trying to launch your business, you should definitely know that 9 out of 10 startups will fail in the first years of operation. Yeah, this is a reality across markets. And I would even extend this number, because there are also a lot of startups called the living deads, which is more a term from Silicon Valley. Startups that are not growing anymore and not moving really, they're just surviving. Yeah, so there is nothing showing that they really scale later on. They just hope for something better, but nothing will change. So this is the living dead part. Fortunately, there are, if you know about the journey, about which steps to take and which goals you should have on the way, there is a higher probability that you can succeed, or even if you don't succeed, that you understand it quite early and that you can maybe reiterate your idea or get back to another idea as well. So you don't lose too much time or too much money effort as well. So that's why I start before even entering the global markets and talking about them. And I will come to that later on. I will start with the main stages of any successful startup. Yeah. Basically, if you start a business, even if it's a social driven one, if it's a for-profit, your goal is to grow. Your goal is to grow your revenue, your profits, your margin. You want to become, not yourself maybe, but you want to become kind of rich. Yeah. So how do you do it? At the beginning, this is where you are, most of you at least. You have an idea, you have maybe seen something out there, some people who have a problem, or maybe you've even done some kind of research already, yeah, that you said, wow, there is a problem, I have to look it up online. Yeah, Google will tell me, let's see if there's a real problem or not. This is the very first step, of course. Without an idea, it's quite hard to start in any direction. The second step is what's usually called the problem solution fit. Maybe you've heard the term, but I try to explain it once more. If you found out a problem, the next step is that you generate a solution for it. What many founders do, unfortunately, and that's also why they fail, they create a solution in their mind and they think this is their business and they try to scale immediately. They push money into marketing, into sales, and at the end, they just fail. Between idea and problem solution fit, the main part, what you have to do is to identify the problem, to identify the solution, and then get out of the building. Without speaking to potential customers, without talking to potential markets and getting real feedback. It's not about asking 5 friends, because my friends are always pleasant to me. Yeah, they will always say, Patrick, amazing guy, hey, super idea. But if I go to other people, they might say, Patrick, I don't have this problem. Your solution is crap. Yeah. So get out of this building, understand if your potential market out there has the same problem like you identified, and if your solution, what you can offer to them, would solve the problem as well. So you want to know who these guys are. And I've seen a lot of pitch decks asking for funding, showing 5 billion markets, and we have 8 billion, the global population as our market. To be honest, no, you don't have. There is usually always a market segment, what you can serve first. And then later on, of course, you can grow. But first, you have to start with this kind of market segment that has the same problem and wants your solution. If you don't find it, you have to go back to the research. You have to iterate, maybe find another solution for the problem and try to pitch it again until you find this problem and solution fit. The next step is the product market fit. So why product market fit? So far you have a problem, you have a solution, you understood, wow, yeah, there is something, yeah, but you have no product yet. You haven't shown any product to any customer. And again, it's different from what people say to what people really buy or use later on. Yeah. So if someone asks me, hey, Patrick, I have an idea, would you buy it? $100 only? I would say, yeah, sure. Absolutely. I will buy it. Yeah. If this entrepreneur who pitched it to me will be serious, he will try to create a prototype, an MVP, and try to sell it again to me. And then he will understand if I really pay or not. Because about talking and doing, these are two completely different worlds for every one of us. So how can you measure this? And there are a lot of possibilities, and I can't go into all the details. Yeah, there are tactics, there are some I think a lot of tools, there are lean canvases and so on. I think this, what we could do for another session or one-on-one later on, no problem. But there is one thing, what is definitely worth to measure. I would always define it that you achieved your product market fit when the people who bought your product or used your product can't live without it anymore. So if they say, wow, this product is so amazing, I can't live without it, I need it permanently. If I look at the Indian ecosystem, yeah, so these are just 4 examples. There are thousands more today. PUBG, I'm an older generation, but I've heard, at least when I was in India, it was quite a hype. And people just went on and PUBG nonstop. Swiggy, Zomato, yeah, you can call any company here. Without that, I think the Indian way of living wouldn't work, yeah, for many people. TikTok today, people just get back and back and back, and it would be disappear. Suddenly it was like, wow, oh no, hey, I'm missing something in my life. And also Uber or Ola, yeah, I think it's a mistake just to use the American business here. So it's the same. Without that, without this kind of transportation, the way of living would change. So these are typical examples. All startups, they achieve clearly product market fit, and then they scale. Then they expand it radically in a really, really fast mode. So this is the last step then, the scale part. When you look at the problem solution fit, product market fit, it's more about the market than the product. You have to understand the market, you have to understand the customers, you have to create a product that's aligned to their problems. And in the scale mode, it's about now you know people love your product, they want it. Now you push the marketing engine on, or the sales engine, if you're B2C or B2B, depending on that. So most people, or most startups, and I come back to this 9 out of 10 fail in the first years of operation, go from idea to scale. They have an idea, they think I have a problem, let's work on it and let's push it out of the market. Yeah, let's $100, $1,000 into marketing. So they burn out of cash later on. It's not possible because they haven't tested the market before. One thing to mention here, startup growth, of course, is not linear. So this hockey stick is always what we would love to have. And there are usually, even at the beginning, it's a little bit more down, a little bit more up and so on. So it's a roller coaster. And later on, also, even if you scale, there are always these kind of growth stalls, where maybe the tactic what you use to scale, when you have, be it social media or be it paid advertising or be it something else, might stop working, and you have to change your tactics, you have to change your strategy. And hold on, I come to the global part, yeah, don't worry. It will be part of this journey as well. And then there is one other thing, and I just, even if you're not there yet, but it's quite important, really quite important to know it at least. This is also one part of this journey where, in my opinion, most startups really, really fail, is what they call the chasm. Because it's the transition from these early adopters, what you have maybe in product market fit, and when you show it to customers first, to main markets. And an example here, this is from the Facebook movie. This is maybe the crowd, how the first customers of Facebook look like nerds, Harvard students, yeah, looking for their friends, what they are doing. But the main market looked maybe like this. Yeah, just people randomly sitting back and just looking what's happening, yeah, in their environment. If you scale too early, then you would imagine that these nerds here, oh, 1 second, that these nerds are your main market. And you would only target them. You would say, wow, yeah, I have first customers, let's market them, let's scale now. But you maybe didn't realize at this point that the main market where you really can scale is a little bit different. So even if you have first customers, don't just go all in. Always explore if you can grow with this customer base from the beginning, or if you maybe also have to shift your focus. So now, as I said, this was just the beginning of, if you're at the beginning of an idea or already asked some people, interviewed some people, this is the journey, how it can look like. There will be a kind of variations, of course, but I think some pieces to follow at least. But now I come to the main part of the presentation today. It's from local to global. And what I want to cover are 3 points. One is when and why to go international. Then second, where to go. And the third one, how to do it. I think these are the three basic things what you should know without maybe analyzing all the markets now, yeah, but to understand it later on, or maybe also at the beginning already, who knows? I should consider these things. So now I come back shortly about the journey, to the journey. Yeah, we have this day one, we have the first local customers, we are scaling in the local market, we have growth stall, we have even the growth saturation, product life cycle is over, you have to shift, you have to change. And I want to let you participate again. I have another question here. We use the same tool. I would like to know from you, at which of these stages should you go global? So go to menti.com and use this time the code 10679096, or just scan the QR code. I think this is even easier. And then I'm quite excited what you answer. And I just shift here to, I think it's this slide. 1 second. Yes, this one. Okay, cool. All right. Yeah. So also, if you couldn't find it, also here at the top, you can see it again where you have to go. So menti.com and the code accordingly. Okay. All right. Yeah, we're waiting for a little bit more time. And please participate, yeah, because I think also the picture says everything. Going global means really you can cover the world with your solution. Yeah, you can expand radically. No matter where you start, if you find a way how to scale globally, there are completely new markets waiting for you. Okay, okay. All right. Okay, there are tendencies. So let's wait for another 20 seconds. Please answer, go to menti.com and use the code 10679096. So, all right, good, good. Okay, so there are clear tendencies right now. So nobody wants to enter a global market after he has or she has her first local customers. Okay, most want to go globally while they are scaling in the local market or after the local market is saturated. Interesting. Okay, two immediately go outside. They just say, okay, let's do it. Yeah, let's go global immediately. All right. Okay. 10 other seconds. So please participate. Please participate. I showed a picture. Don't lean back only. Yeah, like in the cinema. Also be a little bit active. Okay, okay. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, cool. So if some bubbles are coming, it's okay. So this is an interesting picture. So while showing this picture here, I don't want to get into all of the details because I will show it in the presentation then. But I want to pick out at least one of these answers, especially when a competitor is entering the global market. This is so there are only 3 answers. This is not the majority, and even the ones who answered, yeah, don't feel bad. It's perfectly fine that you answered there. I think this is in general an interesting point, interesting question. There is often a discussion between an existing market where you enter with your startup and a completely new market, the blue ocean out there. something where there is no competition at all. Yeah. And all of these major examples, what you see today, like the multi-billion dollars company who started recently as startups, they usually enter the blue ocean market. Yeah, something that is not covered yet. There is no competition. Because what happens then, you don't have to copy something from someone else. You don't have to look at others all the time. Instead, you can look at your customers, you can look at your product to perfectionize it. So if you really have to expand to another market because a competitor is entering there, there could be two reasons. Either you are quite late at your entrepreneurial journey, and then of course competitors are coming into your market as well. Then it's a good move, yeah, because if someone else is entering a big other market where you also want to expand, you should cover it. But it could be also that your startup idea maybe is already quite similar to competitors, or 5 competitors or 10 competitors. And then what I would do, instead of just rushing behind them and following them, I would think about, can you maybe tweak your idea? Can you do it differently? Because if you only look at competitors, only what others doing, believe me, it's gonna be insane. You will definitely lose money, efforts. You will have a competition about employees, especially later on. Yeah. So this is maybe just to understand that it can happen later on, yeah, that you follow a competitor. But if it happens quite early, and if you feel like, wow, I'm just this problem solution product market, and competitors going global, I have to go, that I enter this market before he does, then maybe there is something wrong with your idea, or you're just in a highly competitive market. Yeah. I've seen someone raising his hand. If there is any question, please unmute yourself.
I think they may have raised their hands by mistake.
Okay. 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 No problem. Yeah. So, but again, if questions are there, raise your hand. No problem. Happy to answer. Otherwise, we can also do it at the end. Yeah. So the other answers, immediately on day one, I talk about that. After I have my first local customers, I talk about it as well. And the other bigger bubbles is also, yeah, are, I think, quite main stages when you enter other markets, but I come to that definitely. Okay, so now you see my screen. Yes, should work. Okay. So I will answer what is the right stage, if there is one. Yeah, by the way. So what I want to show first before getting back to this, when to go somewhere else. I want to go back to the goal of expansion. Yeah. So if you're in a local market, and what I mean by local market is actually your first market. Yeah, it could also happen that although you're based in India, you establish a company abroad. So then this is your local market. Yeah, so there's always one first market. Don't misunderstand that it has to be India. Some business model might work somewhere else much better, and you establish it somewhere else first. Yeah? But the main goal, anyhow, is if you go global, I come back to this dollar-making guy here. Yeah, you want to increase your revenues, you want to become more profitable, and you just want to grow. Yeah, so that's why you go somewhere else. That's why you go international. As I said, not basically chasing competitors or following them, because this might lead somewhere else to another situation. But what you also have to consider while thinking about when you should go abroad is not only this positive thinking of, wow, I can expand, I can make more money. Yeah, let's go to 5 markets, 10 markets, let's cover the whole world. Yeah. There is also downside, and this is maybe where people love at you then. Yeah, because this is the costs that are related to global expansion. If you found your market locally or in the first market, yeah, and if you can sell there heavily and grow, and if you move too early to somewhere else, that also means that you have to start from the beginning again. You have to understand the foreign market, you have to launch a product there, you have to talk to the customers, and this is quite cost heavy. So always have that in mind. It's not only about making more money and getting more customers. You also need the money again to enter it. And there are also a lot of restrictions, employees and stuff. So around that, this is just something what you should definitely keep in mind. So coming back to the question, what I had, when you should go to another market, I would always say it should be an active move after product market fit. Earliest. I'm not saying do it there. I'm not saying do it exactly when you realize that your product is perfectly fit in your local market and people will buy it now. But you should do it afterwards, not before. Because before you don't have even established a stable market in your home ground. So you don't even know if you get money out of your local market. And you already want to expand with extra costs, with extra people, with extra effort, you will fail. When you exactly do it depends quite afterwards, after product market fit, depends quite a lot on the business model, of course. If you have tech business, a SaaS model, for example, yeah, I think it's not a big problem to scale quite early, yeah, or to expand quite early. But if you have more a stock-driven, inventory-driven business, for example, like IKEA or Flipkart or something, yeah, it's not that easy because you need warehouses, you need the operations running and so on. So I think it depends quite a lot, but you should always do it after product market fit. If you do it at the end of the growth saturation, this is an interesting point as well, because some of you also answered this as the right answer. It might be good because you say, I have a local market, I saturated it, I grow there until I realized, oh, now it's not going to further growth or I can't grow further. But you have to be aware that you are not too late, because if your local market is saturated and you're running out of cash suddenly and you want to expand globally, it might be already too late. You don't have an income, you don't have some money to reinvest maybe in the expansion. One last thing here is the active move. I call it active move. There can be also a passive move. Passive move would be for me if maybe you have established a product and customers from other countries see it and want it. That you suddenly realize, wow, the market is asking for it. I'm not expanding somewhere, I'm not analyzing this market and entering, but maybe there is a market where 10, 20, 50 customers already ask like, wow, hey, Patrick, I've seen this amazing product, what you established in Germany. I want to buy it. Can you also offer it here? So this is what I call a passive move, because then you just follow the market demand and it's much easier to enter from the beginning. One other thing here, this is also something I think 2 people answered this, and this is not completely wrong, is still you should consider it from day one, a global expansion. Not operationally, not doing it, but I think you should already have it in mind when you say, I want to expand globally, I see an interesting market not only in my home ground, but also abroad. You should at least align your company culture, the strategy, also the language, how you communicate from day one. Yeah. So I give you an example here in Germany. I have a German business and we hardly speak any English. Yeah. Oh, our main communication is German. Yeah. TV, movies, family, friends, whatever. It's always German. And now I have it quite hard to switch from the German business to a global oriented business because I have a language barrier, for example. Everything is set up in German. Internal communication with employees, with colleagues is set up in German. The employees maybe only speak German, not even English. So now I have to think about, wow, how can I do it cost efficient that I can also go abroad? And this is something what you should definitely consider from day one already, just to understand where you want to go later. So one last thing here I want to say, because now you've heard so many stages, and wow, it takes so long until I get global, and that's boring. Yeah, I go back again to my seat. I enjoy the cinema. It's not about being too late. It's just about how fast you get there. It's about how fast can you prove that your product is perfect for the market, and how fast you can then enter another market. And I mentioned Facebook before. That's why I just picked out this example to make it a little bit more real life. Yeah, because now it was just theory. In my opinion, Facebook won on strategy. Now it's getting to a decline. This is more the product life cycle, so it has now problems. But for a long time, it was a dominator when it came to social media. And this was just based on strategy. They did the staged rollout. At this time, there was Friendster on the market, MySpace on the market that were dominating in US. They had much more cash flow. Yeah, they were much richer. They had more funding. So actually, same like the early Facebook. Yeah, but what Mark Zuckerberg did, he launched on Feb 2004, and he made it exclusively for Harvard students. Exclusively. Maybe you remember the picture what I showed you before with the chasm, early adopters. These were nerds. These were students, yeah, who loved to see what's happening, yeah, on the campus with their friends. And there was a usage of, I think, 75% from Harvard students used Facebook, which was like, wow, I have a good solution. Yeah. So we come to the problem solution fit. He found a problem. 75% of all Harvard students used it. This was a problem solution fit. 75% of all. Wow. If you can launch it on your college, do it. I would love to see the numbers. Yeah, if there was also 75% participation, something like this. Then he said, okay, now I go the next step. I go to other Ivy League colleges. So he already expanded a little bit in US. And he realized that there is definitely product market fit, not only in this tiny bubble where they maybe know each other, but also in other colleges. The market loves his product. They adapt extremely fast. And at this point, he already was better than all the other competitors that were early in the market because he got more funding, he got more traction and so on. Then he went beyond colleges, and then he did the global expansion. Yeah. So what it took for him to go from idea, the launch, to global expansion was just 1.5 years. Just 1.5 years. I'm saying this consciously. Because in between, he already scaled in the US. It was not like he's not making money. Yeah, I think at this time he was already worth, I can't remember the number. I think $100 million, $200 million. And once he got global, it just increased radically. Yeah. But he did it consciously later on. There was not much competition anymore because the others were not doing the same like he did or had not such a strategy. And then he could easily enter. And he just outcompeted everyone else who wanted to try to fight against him. So another example, if you say Facebook is too old school, Patrick, whatever, yeah. This was for me one of the first social media apps what I used. TikTok, mostly similar, even faster, launched September 2016. And in just 1 year, they did the global expansion. And this also happens. The more a market is established, the more maybe you can look at others, how they did it. And I'm not saying this is the direct competitor TikTok to Facebook, but it's a social media market. The faster it becomes. Yeah, the faster it becomes because suddenly some structures are established. A market is also established for social media already. So for TikTok, it was much easier to go to another market because they already knew like YouTube, other social media platforms, how to use it. So it's much easier. They don't have to teach the people. Yeah, what is it? Yeah. So 1 year is fast. If you look back 1 year from today, and just to think about what you all have changed in your life or what you all have established, then suddenly you will realize, wow, if I start now and in 1 year I could go global, that's extremely fast. This is a huge increase and a huge step. Yeah.
So I have a
Okay. Yeah, please. Yeah, please.
question. So you spoke about Facebook and TikTok, which are apps
Mhm.
that provide services, but what about products which you need to actually set up a supply chain wherever you're producing? So
Yeah.
in case of products, is it equally easy to expand globally in a span of such as 1 year?
Good point. Very good point. And it's true, it depends quite a lot on the industry, on the business model, what you have. And as I said before, like the digital business models work much easier, yeah, because what do? You have online advertising, you launch it on the App Store, and you can easily go abroad, actually. Still, you need an office and stuff, but it's easier. When it comes to products, it might take longer, a little bit, yeah, if you take it serious. But I think there are also platforms and hacks how you can speed it up. Because what you could do first is, instead of really establishing your own store somewhere, or warehouses or logistics, you could also say, okay, I just try it on a local marketplace in another market first, if there is maybe already kind of demand. So let's say now you have a product and you want to enter US. So what? You ship for Amazon FBA a big parcel with your products. They store it for you in the warehouse, and you advertise it from India. You don't need the whole infrastructure, but you can already test the market. Another possibility is to do a try test. Yeah. So let's say you don't know, is it right to go there? Do I really want to take this effort to enter a market? So in your case, if I understood right, you have products, physical ones, physical goods. You could also create an e-commerce website, make it open to the US market, drive traffic. You can do it digitally. You don't have to be in US, to the website. And then just lead the customers from the beginning, from your landing page to the checkout, and then say, sorry, I don't have the product right now, delivery ready. But what you get by this, so you don't have to deliver actually, yeah, but what you get is data already. How much do these markets interact with your product? Would they love it? Would they buy it? Because with such a technique or such a trick, you realize, okay, there is a complete funnel. Yeah, people are coming to my website, they're activated, they purchase, but of course I told them, hey guys, sorry, I can't deliver right now. So what I want to say with this is, you have to think about possibilities, tactics, especially if you're in a business that's maybe more operational driven. How you can speed up this process and how you can get really early on quite a lot of knowledge about the market before really heavily investing in it. I hope this answers. Please let me know. Otherwise, I'm happy to clarify.
That's only my question. I think it's answered.
Okay, good. Okay, so coming back to this lovely dog, it's not mine, unfortunately. I would love to go with him on a vacation once. So now we've rocked the market, yeah. We said, okay, we understand the stages, we understand how to scale, but where should we go? Yeah, we are ready. Yeah, we already earn money in our local markets. We have a suitcase full of cash. Yeah, we want to go somewhere else. The question is now, where do you want to go? Yeah, and yeah, as I said, you can't lean back today. I have a third question for you. So, which criteria would you choose to choose a market? Again, please go back to menti.com. This time use the code 69531079. And it will look a little bit different because now you can enter words. And I just change to this one. Yeah. So here's also again the name of the website, the code, and just please enter the words to it, which kind of criteria you would choose to select the right market. So that you understand if you want to go to Germany, to UK, to US, to Bangladesh, to Thailand, to Australia. What are these criteria? How would you look at these markets? How would you check it? Okay, these criteria are not easy. ATJ, a little bit more specific maybe would be good. Okay, interests, yeah. Okay, now it's filling up. Perfect. Scope, need, tax. Okay, interesting. Perfect. Yes, awesome. Lifestyle, demand of the product, scalable, untapped market. Interesting, interesting. Okay, culture is the top answer right now because it's the biggest. Market size is the top answer. Demand of the product, okay, geographical locations. Yes, awesome. Okay. Policy, geographical locations. Cool, cool, cool. Okay, we leave it open for another 10 seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 1. And now please stop, because otherwise I can't read it. It's always changing. So please stop here, which is very good. So we have a lot of answers and amazing, yeah. So I've seen that there are a lot of, okay, it's still, people are still typing, which is, which is good, but I think what we see clearly, so that the bigger it's written, the more answers it had, yeah, a specific topic. And even when you look at these smaller answers, there are a lot of similarities. Many answers go to the market size, yeah. The demand, I've seen answers like interests of the market and so on. The culture, yeah, which is again like demand, culture, need. It's kind of the market picture, the market sizes in general, I guess. How big is it? How can I, how fast I could scale, or how big I could become. And they are all right, yeah. Let me tell you, they are all right because there won't be any one answer when selecting a market. And I go back now to the presentation and try to, with a few slides, I try to get a little bit deeper into this. How could you choose the right market for your startup? After product market fit, please remember, not at the beginning, like, let's do it, let's sell, yeah, everywhere. So, okay. And I go first back to a history lesson. Yeah, it's not, I know it's not a history session, but sometimes I love to have lessons from history because it teaches us a lot. And I go back to the battle between East and West. We are not talking about war. Yeah, it's a business battle. And maybe a few of you know this story, but I just want to have it as an introduction of this, where to go to, and what to consider, actually, what kind of criteria. When you look back in history, I picked out eBay, and that happened to many other countries as well. eBay was founded in 1995. Yeah, 2002, and I make it fast. I don't explain the whole business model, but 2002 we had already 70% market share in the US, so quite big. And it was at this time, it's hard maybe to understand, but at this time it was really like the tech part was rising in US. Tech startups were radically growing, and eBay was always called this rock star. So everybody believed, even for stock investors, the stocks just raised by 300, 400% over a few days after they went public. And everybody believed eBay will be the future for the next 50, 100, 200 years. They will just dominate everything that's related to tech. 70% was amazing, yeah. And it was at this time also one of the most valuable companies in the world. As I said, a rock star. It's really like, wow, eBay is the place to be. Yeah, not Google. Google is today maybe, but eBay was the place to be at that time. Of course, they wanted to expand as well, because eBay said, if I'm already so dominated in the US, 70% market share, still increasing. Where should I go next? And China, with 1.3 billion people, market size, we read it. Yeah, we had this answer, market size. This is criteria, how you should select it. China is the place to go. They didn't think about India at this time. I think population is more or less the same. But China was the place to go for them. Quite growing market, yeah, at this point already. So what they did, they made a move, yeah, founded 1995. And it's interesting what you asked before when it comes to physical goods, more complex markets, you see already it took much longer, 95 to 2003, where they wanted to expand, yeah, so 8 years. But also here, there was no market established. There were no marketplaces and stuff, yeah. So they had to start from really zero. Excuse me. So what they did to enter China, they acquired E-Summit' for 180 million. E-Summit' had an 85% market share in China, insane, massive. And they invested additionally $200 million for tech and for promotion advertising. So they had money, no problem. Just 2 years later, they exited from China. eBay went out. So what happened here? I mean, they invested $380 million, which was huge at this time. It's not like today. Yeah, today it's like there is so much funding on the market. But just 2 years later, the CEO, Mac Whitman, said, we go out, we stop our operations in China. So what did they do wrong? I mean, they were big. They wanted to go global. They said China is so big, so huge, it's growing, and we expect also a huge tech adoption and a big market later on. But 2 years later, they exited the market again. So there was a crocodile in the Yangtze River. Maybe you know this guy, Jack Ma, founder of Alibaba. And they were so small at this point. Yeah, nothing related to eBay, nothing. But what they did was, if they are China and if they want to have their own economy coming up and not just being a part for cheap labor, they have to compete. They have to fight against a global invasion, business invasion. So he founded Taobao, yeah, the competitor of eBay. And what they realized, and this is maybe something what many people say today, they would say E-Summit', yeah, or eBay was outcompeted by Taobao because they just made the business much better. But to be honest, what happened instead was eBay was completely unprepared for the complexity of the Chinese market. Completely unprepared. So they were like flying that high in US that they expected, I can go everywhere in the world. My business is amazing. Everybody will adopt. There will be huge markets everywhere. Yeah, I will just globally expand. This was wrong. They didn't understand the market. They didn't understand how the Chinese market purchased, what they needed. They didn't understand the advertising. They just tried to copy everything from US. But Chinese people needed something else or were familiar with something else. And that's how they completely failed. If you want to see more about the story, this is where I stop. There is an amazing movie, in my opinion. The Crocodile in the Yangtze, a real story about eBay and the Alibaba war. For me, if you want to do entrepreneurship globalization, this is the place. Yeah, you have to watch it. I don't get any fee out of it for this promotion. I watched it a few years ago. I watched it 3 times more because there are so many learnings in that movie. So now I come to these main points. Enough about history. Yeah, earlier I was not, when I was younger, I was not so much interested in history. Today I am. How can you choose the right market? And I said it before, eBay failed because of the complexity of China. It's too broad, too diverse as well. And there are always 3 areas worth to check before you enter, that you understand how you can select it. The first one is the market. Yes, we heard this as an answer. We heard always the market size. Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, okay, no, but be aware of the market size and the market fit. These are two different worlds. Just having a huge market doesn't mean that you can expand there. It could also happen that just this market is completely different and people don't want your product there. Second one, regulations. And there were also a few answers there, which is amazing, like taxation. Are there regulations for foreign companies maybe as well? Are these regulations constantly changing? Yeah, like some governments just change overnight their rules, their laws. Yeah, I have an example in mind. I was not there, but in India, I think it was a demonetization once, where suddenly the money was not valuable anymore. Yeah, overnight. So regulation change, not easy to enter. As a foreigner, you wouldn't understand what's really happening there. Third one, operational, which is more about how operations work over there. How is the workforce? How is the working culture? Are they similar to you? Or do you find a completely other working culture over there? For me, when I started the business in India, this was a big problem, to be honest. Yeah, it was nothing right or wrong about how you work, but I come from kind of structured way. Germany is quite experienced or quite known for this structure and on time and so on. I heard it many times. Indians are just doing it. So there are two completely different working cultures. There is nothing right or wrong about one of them. But if you want to expand, if you want to establish a business there, if you want to get your workforce there, you definitely need to check this. You definitely need to have that in mind. Same also delivery costs and so on. Yeah, whatever is related to operations is something definitely worth to consider. And I have a graph. You don't need to know all of these numbers and names, whatever, but it's a simple graph actually, because going up, there is the operation margin, and at the bottom you see the complexity of these companies, a kind of complexity footprint in all the countries where they're in. And across all the industries, doesn't matter if it's fast food, shipping, sportswear, the companies who are operating in less complex markets have a higher operation margin. This is what I want to show you here. It's not about these companies themselves, but I showed it before. If you enter a market, it's cost heavy. You need costs for operations to enter it. If you choose the wrong markets, then it's so complex that your margin that you can reinvest in other countries will go down. And this is IKEA's market analysis, how it might have looked like. And this is based on the GMCI model. So there's a model, the Global Market Complexity Index. Don't worry, I don't explain this now in detail. But what I want to show here is, like, if you look at this model, it ranks all the countries based on complexity. Yeah, and it creates these 2, 4, 6, 8 different categories. MVPs are the most valuable players. Only the brave is more like, oh, this is extremely hard to get there. As a foreigner, yeah, not if you are starting there. That's different. India is ranked at the moment as the builders. And I come to that, what it is, yeah, and why maybe it's also that way. So now let's combine both. Yeah, now it gets shortly complex. We have seen the startup stages, a staged rollout before. Now I call it staged expansion. So problem solution fit, product market fit, scale. Now I do expansion. And now I use a staged expansion plan. Now I'm so high already. I'm growing with my startup. Now I go to market, to market, to market, to market. IKEA did its expansion exactly according to this model, what I just showed before. They had the first store on 1947. Then they expanded first internationally to Germany. which was an MVP, yeah, most valuable player. Quite easy. European Union, kind of same culture. Operation-wise, cost-wise, it's not so different. Yeah, they started in Sweden, so quite easy. Then they expanded to US, also Western culture, quite similar. Then they went to Group 2, Group 3, Group 4, Group 5, Group 6, and Group 6. We've learned this before, was India. And this was on 9th of August, 2018, yeah, when the first IKEA store was opened in Hyderabad. And I understood why it's complex, because the streets looked exactly like this. And yeah, I was living there. I've been part of this Group 6 expansion plan. And to be honest, I was on this picture. I was on the way to a meeting. I didn't know that IKEA will open. And then suddenly I realized, oh, I will not only miss this meeting, I will get back on the next body. Yeah, so it was insane. But this shows a kind of complexity, yeah, of something, a dynamic, what you wouldn't see somewhere else. In Germany, there is a queue. Everybody's standing there, yeah, no problem. In India, you've seen pictures, people rushing from all the sides. Yeah, nothing right or wrong. It's just a difference. And finally, I want to show you a little bit these pieces, how to select these markets according to these MVPs and the builders. And when you look at the MVPs in IKEA's example, the market, as I said, quite similar. European Union, I wouldn't say there is a big difference. Even in US, there are a lot of similarities. Australia also quite similar, at least. Yeah, currency is a little bit different, but even the income level, the economy is quite similar, indeed. Yeah. Second one, regulations. Yeah, US is an easy market to enter always, because they're welcoming usually new businesses. It's not too regulated. In the European countries today, we have a EU data law. Yeah, everything under one umbrella. It's a European-wide data law, for example. Why shouldn't you enter to Germany if you're in Sweden? Not a big problem. The third one, operational. Yeah, if you're in Europe, easy. If you're in other countries, US is so big. If you find a market there, it's definitely worth to consider, because the market size is there. People will definitely spend money. They have enough money, and there are also less regulations. Why not to enter there? The builders, and this is where India appears. Maybe they already moved a step to the upstream paddlers, yeah, which are they called? Let's look at this market quickly. The market itself, when I look at India, I see an extremely diverse market. Geographically, economically, there is a lot of inequality, imbalance, yeah, according to where you go, but also culturally, yeah. You are the country with the most languages, yeah, and it's highly diverse when you go from outside to inside. If you're starting in India, you know it. It's your home ground, but it's quite complex. Regulations, they're changing quite fast. I mentioned an example before, and sometimes from outside, it's not 100% clear what are the exact regulations, the tax, depending on state to state, yeah. And the third one, operations. There is, for example, a high cost barrier. If I would enter from Germany to India with my product, which is produced in Germany, I have extremely high costs here, but I would enter a market where maybe people are not willing to pay as much as they would pay here. The same also with the delivery, with the customs. So there are a lot of regulations as well. That's why looking from outside, this might be a more complex market, yeah, based on these three segments: market, regulations, operations. So yeah, and now I want to summarize. Enough, I have talked enough, yeah, my tongue is dry now. So I want to summarize quickly what we hopefully learned, and what steps you should take when you want to go from local to global. The first, a staged rollout in one market. I call it the one market. As I said, mostly local market, but it can be also that you start a business somewhere else from day one. Do it staged rollout. problem solution fit, product market fit, scale. This is your first homework. Second one, once you scale into one market, reinvest it. Reinvest your earnings for the expansion. Now you have a running cash flow. And even if the next market fails, you still have a base. You still have your home ground where you can earn money. And the third one, a staged expansion based on complexity. Analyze the markets, understand them. Where should you go first? Which markets make sense? And yeah, now I'm coming to an end to the presentation. So there are basically 3 learnings I want you to leave with at the end. So one, go global after product market fit. Yeah, I think we talked about that. Don't do it too early. You will just burn the cash and your effort as well. Second, expansion is costly. Have a running cash flow. If you expand, it will definitely be extra costs. If it's active, if it's passive, if the market demands from outside, then not, because then you just try to serve them. And the third one, check the complexity of the markets. Again, I penetrated once more. If it's too complex, even if it looks so nice from outside, and even if you believe, wow, this is so easy, or it's the biggest market. China is the biggest market, actually, in terms of population. I had a friend who tried to establish a business there. It was impossible. Yeah, it was impossible. They couldn't even talk. He had an employee over there. They were always restricted by the government. They couldn't use a Zoom. Sometimes they couldn't call. Sometimes they couldn't deliver, and so on. Impossible. They stopped after six months of operations. They stopped China. Not saying don't go there, just saying complexity is different to other markets. And yeah, this is enough for me now. I would just open it for Q&A. If you also have other questions after this presentation, please feel free to ask. Yeah. So you can always find me on LinkedIn. This is the QR code, and yeah, I'm happy to answer everything. Yeah, and please feel free to ask.
So we do have a question in the chat box.
Yes,
so
please.
Pratham is asking that he looks to build something in the field of social entrepreneurship. So he wants to know how different a social cause is from a normal startup and how to go about scaling it, and can they be profitable as well? Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. Amazing question. I just had a session about that yesterday. So I try to answer it in a few words. First of all, yes, you can be profitable, of course. Social entrepreneurship means nothing else than combining the for-profit aspect with the social impact. Your not-for-profit NGO won't be profitable, yeah, because you are based, or you are dependent on fundings, donations, and you just try to serve the people or environment. And the for-profit just wants to earn money. You are in between. You are in between the spectrum, left and right. Yeah. So definitely you can be profitable. I yesterday showed an example of, for example, Tom's Shoes. Blake Mycoskie, for me, still one of the real inventors of the modern time. He had a valuation of the company of $630 million, and his wealth itself was, I think, around about $300 million. So yes, you can be profitable. When it comes to the differences, I think there is one main difference. This is what I want to highlight, and everything else follows the same structure. Yeah, you have to the same steps. And when you want to go global, you also have to check, for my social business, is there a market somewhere else? But the main difference is your criteria of success, your definition of success. In a for-profit company, you will say it's financial. I showed you at the very beginning where I said, I want to make money. Yeah. In a social business, your main goal, your main criteria of success is impact. So suddenly, instead of checking your revenue all the time, if it increases or not, in a social enterprise, you also want to track how much impact you create and how this is changing over time. And I think this is the only difference. There are tiny things as well, but looking from outside on a big picture, you have a different criteria of success, you have to track the numbers, revenue, plus the impact, and maybe make a little bit less money. Yeah, if you compare them both, but you have you get something for your karma, and you do something extremely good for the world. I hope that answers.
Yes, absolutely. So we also have in fact, the chat box is flooded with questions. So I think in the interest of time, we can take up like about one or two. So there's a question that says, what according to you is the biggest flag to show that we are still underprepared to go global as a startup?
The biggest, what was it? The biggest
flag to show that we are still underprepared to go global as a startup.
So kind of red flag, right? Red flag, right? Yeah, okay. So the biggest one is, for me, if you don't have a running cash flow, positive cash flow, that you see that you are established in one market at least. Because what happens there is, as I said, expansion means costs. And you shouldn't underestimate these costs, by the way. And if you don't have your home ground set, really your house set, and you're wealthy in there at least, or you realize what people paying inside this house at home, then it's extremely hard to invest so much money for expansion if you want to scale abroad quite soon. One additional thing here, and this maybe goes too deep, but I quickly try to explain, because just saying this is one thing, but tracking it, really seeing numbers is a different thing. So people ask, hey, Patrick, but how can I see it now? So what is this number? I have to check if I'm ready or not. First of all, there is not such a number as such, but I think when you look at your market, at your local market, and even later on at other markets, you not just want to check these what's called vanity metrics that are leading you to false assumptions. Because let's say if you look at a curve from Jan 2021 to Jan 2022, and if you just accumulate the numbers, the number will go up. Wow, I have more customers, I have more revenue. Amazing. Wow, I'm growing. But if you look closer on the numbers, and if you look at each month separately, maybe you see that you are not only growing nonstop, you are just having this one, kind of roller coaster journey. But cumulative, it looks like a spike. I think this is in general what you should check, because if you look only at vanity metrics, maybe it's misleading for you, and you will say, "Wow, hey, I have grown revenue. Patrick told me if I'm growing at home, I can expand." But from month to month, from week to week, maybe you're not growing. And if you're not growing permanently, that also means that maybe after 3 months, 6 months at your home ground, you don't earn money anymore. So track the numbers, non-stop activation, reactivation, retention, stuff like this. See if you are getting better. I call it getting better, permanently. Not just look at wow, last year I made 100,000. This year, wow, I'm doing 200,000. Yeah, it's double. But you also invested another year. It doesn't show that you're really getting better. So I hope that answers. There is not a clear one answer to it, but I think it's just a matter of how you look at numbers, and to have kind of cash flow already at the home ground and then expand.
Yes, absolutely. So, sir, in the interest of time, I think we can take the last question. So even in going global, there are many compliances, and all this comes at a cost. So do you feel that this could also prevent more startups from trying to scale up and go global? Absolutely.
I mean, I showed it with regulations. I think this is one piece of it. As I understood the question right, definitely there is. And what I showed with this IKEA's expansion plan, just as an example, I think that shows quite a lot already. It shows that even if you look at a continent, for example, countries will be different in terms of the complexity. Regulations, compliances. Sometimes even when it comes to physical products, you I give you two examples here, maybe to clarify that. When it comes to physical products, you need some special, some special, oh, what is it called? Custom clearance, with some special labels that you don't need for other markets. Suddenly you produce in a different way, So you have to produce a product, and additionally for this one extra market, you have to add a sticker, a special code on it that it gets through the customs. In the digital goods, if you expand to Europe, and there is for me, an interesting copy market happening in Europe today, because companies who want to be in Europe, they need to follow the European data law. And there are double opt-in permissions, for example, for newsletter subscriptions. In India, I know it. If you have some information, suddenly you get an SMS, you get a WhatsApp, you get an email, you get a LinkedIn, all automated. I've seen it many times from customer perspective. But in Europe, it doesn't work. You're not allowed to do that. You need to ask for every permission for every channel. If you're not prepared for that, it increases extremely the complexity. And that's why even a lot of copies are here in Europe. They all claim we are following the European data law. So they are specialized on Europe, So all of these things you have to consider. You have to make your market research. That's quite important. And then you will find the right markets where you can enter first.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. The entire session was extremely insightful. And I would now like to invite Sangya Gupta to give the formal vote of thanks.
Thank you, Tisha. Thank you.
On behalf of the principal, faculty, and the E-Summit Skill Hub of the Jai Hind College, thank you, sir, for such an insightful workshop on the topic of local to global. I am sure our inquisitive and passionate attendees will apply their learnings from this workshop to grow towards their goals. The topic of scaling and expansion is every startup's aspiration and goal, and we are honored to have hosted you, sir. And I'm sure everyone will be taking away some great advice, which will form the foundation for internationalization of their businesses. You made this session even more interesting and interactive with continuous use of real-life examples. Thank you once again, sir, and we look forward and hope to see you next time in person as well.
Thank you so much. It was also a pleasure from my end. And yes, I would be happy to be in person as well. I think that's even more wonderful. But thank you so much as well. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay, so over or?
I think in the interest of time, with all the other sessions lined up, we may have to wind up today. Maybe next time for another session, we could surely have you back.
Absolutely. Okay. Thank you so much to all the students. Enjoy the sessions. Take out as much as you can. This is so amazing what's happening in these 2 days. Take the learnings. Apply these learnings. Really use this time. It's amazing. I've seen the program, so there's a lot of good things happening. Okay. Thank you so much. Greetings to India, and then have all a wonderful time and amazing 2 days.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, sir.
Bye.
Maybe we can stop the recording.
Everyone, please fill the feedback form in the chat box. Your attendance will only be recorded once you fill the form. Everyone watching the session from YouTube live, the form has been posted in the comments for YouTube. Please fill in the form, and then you can leave the session. Also, one more request, everyone on YouTube, please do not spam the comments with your UIDs. Your attendance will not be recorded through the comments that you're putting on YouTube. Thank you.
So we can leave now, right? And we have to join at 2 o'clock.
Yes, you can join at 2.
Thank
Fill
you.
the feedback form and then. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.